Right now, as you're watching this, there's a 47% chance your mind is somewhere else entirely. Not here. Not with me. Somewhere in the past, or the future, or just drifting. That's not an opinion. That's Harvard science. And that's just the beginning. Because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you 10 things about your own brain and behavior that most people go their entire lives without knowing. Things that affect your mood, your relationships, your health, and your survival. Some of these will make you uncomfortable. Some will genuinely surprise you. But all of them are backed by real research. Let's get into it. Here's something wild. Harvard psychologists Matthew Killingsworth and Daniel Gilbert ran a study where they tracked 2,250 people throughout their daily lives, asking them at random moments, "What are you thinking about right now?" The answer? 46.9% of the time, people were thinking about something completely unrelated to what they were actually doing. Nearly half your waking life spent somewhere else. And here's the part that should really hit you: this wasn't just harmless daydreaming. The researchers found that mind wandering was a stronger predictor of unhappiness than the activity people were doing. In other words, it doesn't matter if you're at work or on holiday. If your mind is somewhere else, you're probably not happy. The present moment isn't just a mindfulness buzzword. Science says it might literally be where happiness lives. If someone told you that a single lifestyle change could increase your chances of survival by 50%, you'd want to know what it is, right? Exercise? Diet? Sleep? No. It's your relationships. In 2010, researcher Julianne Holt-Lunstad published what became one of the most cited studies in health psychology, a meta-analysis covering 148 studies and over 308,000 people. The finding was striking: people with strong social connections had a 50% higher likelihood of survival compared to those who were socially isolated. 50%. That's comparable to quitting smoking. It's greater than the benefit of exercise. Greater than losing weight. The people in your life aren't just nice to have. According to science, they might be keeping you alive. Your brain is not neutral. It never has been. Psychological research has consistently shown that your mind gives more weight to negative events than to equally positive ones. A harsh comment sticks longer than a compliment. A bad day feels more significant than a good one. A loss hurts more than an equivalent gain feels good. This is called negativity bias, and it's not a personal flaw. It's evolution. For thousands of years, noticing danger fast meant surviving. Your brain still runs that same ancient software, even when the threat is a passive-aggressive email or a bad review. Understanding this doesn't make it disappear. But it changes the game, because now you know your mind has a built-in bias, and you can start to question it. Here's a fact the mental health conversation doesn't talk about enough. Multiple peer-reviewed studies, including research published in the Lancet, have found that adults who meet recommended physical activity levels have around 20 to 30% lower risk of developing depression compared to inactive adults. One large meta-analysis pegged it at exactly 25%. The Lancet study went further. People who combined multiple types of physical activity, walking, strength training, sport, saw their depression risk drop by up to 31%. This isn't about just going for a jog when you're sad. This is about the science of prevention. Regular movement genuinely restructures the risk of one of the most common mental health conditions in the world. Your body and your brain are not separate systems. What you do with one, you do to the other. Your brain weighs roughly 1.3 kilograms. That's about 2% of your total body weight. But here's what's extraordinary: it consumes approximately 20% of your body's total energy every single day. Whether you're solving complex equations or staring blankly at the ceiling, that energy bill barely changes. This has been confirmed in multiple neuroscience studies, including research published in PNAS, one of the world's leading scientific journals. This is why decision fatigue is real. This is why you feel genuinely exhausted after a difficult conversation or a hard day of thinking, even if you haven't moved a muscle. Your brain is always on, always expensive, and always hungry. Treat it accordingly. What happens to your emotions when you don't sleep? Research shows that sleep deprivation causes the amygdala, the brain's emotional alarm system, to become significantly more reactive. It fires faster, harder, and with less control from the prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain responsible for rational thinking and impulse control. The result? Negative experiences feel more intense. Small frustrations become big ones. Things that wouldn't normally bother you suddenly do. One night of poor sleep doesn't just make you tired. It fundamentally changes how your brain processes the world around you. Sleep isn't a luxury. It's emotional regulation, and without it, you're running on a system that's biased toward overreaction. For most of the 20th century, scientists believed the adult brain was essentially fixed, hardwired and unchangeable. They were wrong. Modern neuroscience has now established clearly that the brain forms and reorganizes neural connections throughout your entire life, even well into older adulthood. This is called neuroplasticity. Every skill you learn, every habit you build, every way of thinking you practice, you are physically reshaping your brain. New connections form. Old ones strengthen or weaken depending on use. You are not stuck with the brain you have right now. You are constantly, literally, building a new one. We've talked about depression, but anxiety deserves its own moment. Decades of research have consistently shown that regular aerobic exercise significantly reduces symptoms of anxiety. This isn't just feeling better after a run. Clinical studies show measurable reductions in anxiety levels in people who exercise regularly versus those who don't. The mechanism involves multiple systems, reduced stress hormones, regulated nervous system activity, and the release of endorphins that directly affect mood. If exercise were a pill for anxiety, it would be considered a breakthrough drug. Gratitude sounds soft. Like something on a motivational poster. But the research behind it is surprisingly solid. Studies in positive psychology have consistently found that people who regularly practice gratitude, even something as simple as writing down 3 things they're thankful for, report higher levels of psychological well-being and life satisfaction. Some studies have also found reductions in stress hormones like cortisol. This isn't about toxic positivity or pretending everything is fine. It's about training your brain, which, as we've established, has a negativity bias, to also register what's going right. It's a small act. But the data says it compounds. We started with social connection. We'll end with its opposite. Chronic loneliness, not just being alone occasionally, but persistent, long-term isolation, is associated with significantly increased risks of depression, cardiovascular disease, and early mortality. Researchers including Holt-Lunstad have found that the health impact of loneliness is comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And this isn't just about elderly people in care homes. Studies show loneliness is rising across all age groups, including young adults in their 20s and 30s. We are social animals. Our biology was built for connection. And when that connection is absent for long enough, the body registers it as a chronic stressor, one that quietly damages nearly every system it touches. 10 facts. All real. All researched. But here's the thing, knowing this stuff isn't enough. The science is only useful if it changes something. So pick one. Just one fact from this video. And ask yourself, what would it mean if I actually lived like this were true? If that question hit differently, subscribe. Because this is what we do here. Every week. Real psychology. No fluff. I'll see you in the next one.